Yes, that's right. If it's Sunday afternoon, then it must be time for Show Us Your Cat on Joyrider TV. Woohoo! Yes, that's right. It's Joe here for Joyrider TV, back with some more Show Us Your Cat, where we take a look around the world at your boats and where it is that you sail them. I am coming to you from Big Bay, near to Cape Town, South Africa. I'm coming to you from Langebaan in the Western Cape, where I've just been doing some Hobie 16 coaching for a couple of weeks, going back to Greece tomorrow, in fact, because this is going to be on Sunday. It's not actually Sunday today, I'll tell you no lies. If you'd like to be featured in an upcoming episode of Show Us Your Cat, then yes please, we would love to see your boat. So if you've got a catamaran and you've got some pictures of it, or you can go out, take some pictures, maybe some video, a little story about what it is that you like to do with your boat, perhaps when you got it, any work that you've done to your boat, renovations, that kind of thing, and yes, you will be featured in an upcoming episode of Show Us Your Cat. Ongoing, we have got the speed stick competition. So if you're able to get out for a sail and you can take a GPS device with you, get out there with your GPS device, see how fast you can go and get on the speed stick. It's a great way of measuring your progress and perhaps how fast you can go compared to the rest of the Joyrider TV global community. All right, for now, yes, it is time for Show Us Your Cat. So let's jump in and take a look at what we're looking at in this week's Show Us Your Cat on Joyrider TV. We're starting off this week in the USA, in Melbourne, Florida, where we have Eric. Eric has a Hobie 18 SX. In fact, he's had quite a few. He started sailing just 2.5 years ago. Firstly, he bought a used Hobie 18 with the Carumba sails. To get the most out of the boat, he took a 2-day course down in Clearwater, Florida, sailing Hobie waves, which, although the boat was quite different, it really helped with his technique. He then started sailing the 18 out of Dunedin Causeway, where he got a lot of help from the tackle chap, his buddy Andrew, and Tim Beecham, who's previously featured on Show Us Your Cat. Eric then moved to Melbourne, Florida, where he sails pretty much every weekend. After a while, he got tired of trying to find a crew, so he bought this white and pink 14 turbo, which is a 1992. Eric thinks it's one of the nicest Hobie 14s he's ever seen. Put it in the comments below if you'll agree. However, after a while, Eric decided he could no longer handle those colours. He says it looked like it belonged behind a Barbie Jeep, so he sold it. His 18 was in terrible shape. It had really serious delamination to the hulls, so he went searching for another 18. He found one in St. Cloud, Florida, which was an 88 from the Nationals. He had it for a year, but then unfortunately the hull started cracking internally, so the search was back on. Then a week before Labour Day in 2021, Eric drove down to Wilmington, North Carolina, to get the 1991 Hobie 18 SX. This was an amazing find. It had only been used one time on the movie set of Dawson's Creek, and then since then stored in a climate controlled building for over 20 years. The guy he built it from had only sailed it for one day and then put the boat back into storage with his car collection for another 8 years. So essentially, it was like a brand new Hobie 18. This boat was in such good condition that Eric got scared about racing it on the short course in case he got hit by another boat. Even though Eric had a nice 18, he continued the search and found a 2003 SX with a brand new mast, wings and very good sails. So over the years, Eric's had 7 Hobie 18s and 2 Hobie 14 turbos, both of which have now been sold. And here's Eric out with his girlfriend Vanessa. It's just her second time out. With her out on the trapeze, he says she's an absolute trooper. Possibly loves sailing more than me. Great job there, Vanessa, on the trapeze and handling the camera at the same time. Now here's one for how do you get yours there? With a Hobie 14 piggybacking on an 18, of course. Eric's top speed on the SX so far has been 21.5 knots, which is absolutely cooking. So thanks very much, Eric, for sharing your story with us. And we look forward to seeing your next top speeds. I'm sure there'll be some coming soon.
Get ready, here we go.
So thanks very much. We hope you have more great sailing this year. Next, we're heading to the Seabrook Sailing Club in Texas, USA, for a report on the Midwinter's Invitational. It was brutally cold. We left the beach for a 12 o'clock start and set off on a 10-mile race. The temperature was a balmy 42 degrees with water temperatures of 53 degrees. Wetsuits and dry suits were certainly the ticket of the day. The wind was out of the northwest at 12 to 15 knots, so the chop was relatively light till we got further out of the bay. The race was about an hour for the fastest boats and nearly 2 hours for the slower boats. Quite a few boats had issues during the race, but it was a great job to all the sailors for reaching the club back safely and making smart decisions along the way. The evening's entertainment was provided by Mario's Flying Pizza, where all the competitors got fueled up ready for the next day's competition. The Sunday morning was cold, but windier, with high expectations of what was to come. The race started at noon and took off for the high range mark. It was a 25-minute slog upwind with some fast sailing, top speeds approaching 15 knots. The second leg was a long downwind, which provided some slight relief after that slog upwind. This was high-octane racing with the fleet still tight as they approached mark number 2. After rounding the mark, they were off on a very fast reach. As Scott Toomer puts it, crack the sheet a few inches and hold on as long as you can. The ride back in saw speeds of over 18 knots and was 4.5 miles of absolute sloshing and spraying of bow wakes. It was an absolute blast. We reached the finish after an hour and 10 minutes of sailing. There was due to be a second race, but a minor collision actually took a third of the fleet out, so they decided to call it a day. That must have been quite a pile-up. First place with the Spinnaker class was Doug on his Inter 18. Then first place non-Spinnaker was Scott on his modified Prindle 18-2. Second was Chris on his Prindle 19. Third was Charles on a Nacra 5.5. All of those boats sailing solo, incidentally. Then in fourth, we had Joey and Summer on a Prindle 19. And in fifth was Kevin and Stephen, also on a Prindle 19. The prizes were provided by C&C Sailmakers of Houston, Texas. So thanks very much to CNC Sailmakers. And Chris says it was a fun, wet and cold event. And thanks to everybody who came down, got involved and made the event as great as it was. So there we go. Thanks very much to everybody who's been getting involved, and also to everybody who has been supporting the channel. I'll be back in 2 weeks with some more Show Us Your Cat, but until then I'll be back on Friday with some more Q&A, and there'll be more videos coming in the meantime. But for now, why don't you check out this one.